everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. My name is Samantha Genzer, and I'm going to be your host for today. We have a very exciting show coming up for you guys. We're going to be talking about the Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche, the matchup that changed women's MMA, women's college tennis updates, Jordan Larson and how she aims for back-to-back gold medals at the upcoming Olympics, the salaries of WNBA rookies, and Caitlin Clark's debut yesterday. Before we start, I would like to ask that you like and follow the show, and you can become a part of our show by tipping and donating. Your support means a lot to us. Also, we do get a lot of questions that come in from viewers during the show, so to ensure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the GSMC podcast.net link with your questions so that I can see your questions and they get read on the air. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them, and it also really helps the show, and we would really appreciate it. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Okay, now let's get started. I hope you guys enjoy today's content. So we're first going to be going into the Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche, the matchup that changed women's MMA. And I have not talked much about women's MMA, and I feel like this is like a great way to begin talking about the MMA by starting with the iconic Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche matchup that, really changed women's MMA, and we obviously will get into that. So, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC, is a household name now, and big fights in the women's fight game generate as much interest, anticipation, and speculation as fights in the men. Early pioneers of women's mixed martial arts, also known as MMA, such as Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg, and Miesha Cupcake Tate, have played a big part in bringing women's MMA into the mainstream. Shows of brutal knockout power, technical fighting excellence, general toughness, and so much more have all captured the interest of the world. So we're going to take a look back at the Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche at UFC 157 and how this paved the way for more women to come forward and make their name known in the MMA. So Ronda Rousey, I'm so sorry, I cannot say her last name for some reason. Rousey. Ronda Rousey is a prominent figure in both mixed martial arts and professional wrestling. She first gained international fame as an MMA fighter, particularly in the Ultimate Fighting Championships, where she was known for her judo skills and armbar submissions. Rousey was instrumental in popularizing women's MMA and was the first woman to be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Before her MMA career, Rousey had a successful judo career, winning a bronze medal at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, which made her the first American woman to earn an Olympic medal in judo. After dominating the UFC and becoming one of the sport's biggest stars, Rousey transitioned to professional wrestling with WWE, which is also known as World Wrestling Entertainment. In WWE, she quickly rose to prominence, capturing the Raw Women's Championship and participating in key matches, including being part of the first ever women's main event at WrestleMania in 2019. Rousey's contributions to both MMA and wrestling have made her a trailblazer and influential figure in combat sports and entertainment. And then we have Liz Carmouche. Liz Carmouche is also a prominent mixed martial arts fighter, known for competing in the Ultimate Fighting Championship mainly and also other organizations. She was born in 1984 in Louisiana, and ever since she has had a significant impact on the world of women's MMA. Before her MMA career, though, Carmouche served in the U.S. Marine Corps as an aviation electrician and did 3 tours of duty in the Middle East. Her military background brought a unique perspective and skill set to her MMA career, contributing to her reputation as a tough and disciplined fighter. Carmouche has competed in various weight classes and organizations, which really demonstrated her versatility and resilience throughout her career. She is also openly gay, making her one of the first openly LGBTQIA+ athletes in the UFC, and she has been an advocate for LGBTQIA+ rights within the sports community. So, In 2012, Dana White, the UFC president, announced at the headliner for UFC 157 that they would feature a matchup between Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche for the bantamweight title and presented Rousey with the bantamweight title belt. It was the first time women had gone head-to-head in the octagon, and the UFC was really laying it on the line with the bout. Fans who were used to seeing competitive bouts would get bored if Rousey, who had become dominant in the women's MMA and the Strikeforce organization, just ran through overmatched opponents. White had to find a fighter who could provide a challenge, and they believe they found it in Liz Carmouche, a tough U.S. Marine Corps veteran and rising MMA star who had a record of 8-2 at this time. So Rousey entered the fight as the favorite, and even those who weren't experts on how to bet on sports were enticed by the generous odds were considering her a favorite. On February 23, 2013 in Anaheim, California, early in the first round, Carmouche came close to lifting the title after locking in a rear naked choke on Rousey, but Rousey shook it off, fought her way back into the round, and settled the match at 4 minutes and 49 seconds of the first round. The bout between Rousey and Carmouche had materialized because Dana White could no longer ignore the talent he was seeing in ladies' divisions and other organizations and felt the time was right to give ladies matchups their shot in the UFC. The fight paved the way for a legion of super tough female fighters wanting to test their skills in the octagon to come forward. As well as Miesha Tate and Chris Cyborg, the octagon has seen skillful fighters such as Shaun Wei, Amanda Nunes, Rose Namajunas, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Holly Holm, Carla Esparza, Michelle Watterson, Paige VanZant, and a host of other female fighters just all stepped onto its mat since then. Amanda Nunes was living and training in the United States at the time of the fight and had already fought for Strikeforce and Invicta FC. Seeing women's MMA break into the UFC was something she and a lot of other women MMAs had been waiting for. She knew the fight was huge and that one day she too would be fighting for the UFC. Later, she won the women's bantamweight title off Miesha Tate, and in her next fight, she also knocked out Ronda Rousey. The fight was also inspirational for former Bellator MMA flyweight champion Ilima-Lei Macfarlane and UFC flyweight fighter Caitlin Chookagian. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that wrong. That was my best attempt. Chookagian. Macfarlane had been invited to train at the same gym as Carmouche, and the fight and training at that gym made her believe it was possible to reach the level of fame as a fighter she never thought was possible before this. For Chookagian, seeing the fight inspired her that MMA could be more than a hobby. She saw that it was possible to make a career out of battling in the cage, rather than MMA being something she did outside her day job. The fight between Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche held significant historical and cultural importance in the realm of MMA and sports in general, as we know. This bout was noteworthy for several reasons, and we're going to dive into most of them, or at least the ones that are most prominent. So first, not only was this the first women's fight in the UFC, but it was also the main event of the evening, which really highlighted the UFC's confidence in its draw and significance. This positioning was a statement about the marketability and skill level of female fighters. The fight significantly boosted visibility for women in MMA, demonstrating that female fighters could headline major cards and draw large audiences, and they did just that. Additionally, Liz Carmouche being openly gay brought further diversity and representation to the sport, making the event a landmark for inclusivity in the MMA. Also, female fighters have had to surmount a range of obstacles, including lack of recognition, pay disparity, and limited opportunities. The battle between Rousey and Carmouche has helped these and other women in MMA to break down the barriers and command the same amount of respect as their male counterparts. They use society's biases and limitations as fuel to drive them to achieve that. Every misconception is a chance to change these perceptions by showcasing their skill, and spirit. And then to add, as a consequence of the fight's success and the story surrounding it, there was a notable increase in the presence of women in sports media, both as subjects of coverage and as journalists and commentators. This has helped to gradually shift the landscape towards a more equitable representation in sports journalism in itself. And then also, the fight itself was intense and competitive. Carmouche nearly secured a victory with the rear naked choke early in the fight, which added to the drama and excitement, proving that women's MMA could be as thrilling and technical as men's. The success of this event led to the expansion of women's divisions in the UFC, with more weight classes and fighters being added over time. It demonstrated that there was a strong audience and market for women's MMA, encouraging the development of talent pools and increasing investment in women's fighters. Overall, Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche was a groundbreaking event without a doubt that not only advanced the careers of both fighters, but also transformed the landscape of women's mixed martial arts. The fight served as a source of empowerment for women and girls interested in martial arts and combat sports. Rousey and Carmouche became role models, showing that women could compete at the highest level in traditionally male-dominated sports. Their presence and success on such a significant platform inspired many to pursue careers in MMA and other combat sports, and we can definitely thank them for that. So we're now going to discuss some women's college tennis updates. Before we do that, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys really soon.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Hello guys, welcome back. So we just got done talking about Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche, the matchup that changed women's MMA. We're now going to transition into our next segment where we're going to talk about the women's college tennis updates. We have a lot to talk about for this, and there's three things that we're going to focus on in this segment. First, we're going to talk about UCLA and UT Austin in the NCAA Round of 16. Then we're going to talk about Penn State women's tennis senior Sofiya Chekhlystova, who was tabbed College Sports Communicators Academic All-District. And then lastly, we'll talk about the 3 Alabama women's tennis players named to CSC Academic All-District Team. Sorry guys. Excuse me. And before we start, I wanted to remind you guys to like and follow our show, and to become a part of our show, you can tip and donate. Your support means a lot to us. Also, using that link, gsmcpodcast.net, puts your questions at the top of the list so that I can see them, and it also really helps the show. Lastly, I wanted to remind you guys to stay till the end because we have a very exciting segment, and I'm very excited for it, where we're going to be talking about Caitlin Clark's debut from yesterday in the WNBA, so you guys better stick around for that. So now that we got that out of the way, we are going to go into some of the updates about women's college tennis. Okay, so starting with UCLA and UT Austin. UT Austin is ranked as number 9 and UCLA is ranked at number 8. On Friday at the Los Angeles Tennis Center, the Longhorns, which is UT Austin, concluded their season with at least 23 wins for the 4th straight season. Texas came up just short in the doubles point, a tiebreaker of the deciding match, and after graduate number 42 Tanya Sasnovskaya even the overall match with the singles win at number 4, the UCLA Bruins won singles contest at numbers 1, 3, and 6 to clinch. The Longhorns were in second set tiebreakers and other 2 matches at number 2 and 4 when the play ended. After UCLA took the doubles point, Sasnouskaya claimed a 7-5, 6-2 win over Elise Waggle, and Waggle broke first for a 2-1 lead that she consolidated to 3-1, but Sasnouskaya responded with a 3-0 run of her own to lead 4-3. Waggle reclaimed it with her next 2 games for 5-4, but Sasnouskaya put together another 6-0 run to take the first set and establish a 3-0 lead in the second. The next 2 games stayed on serve until Sasnouskaya broke again for 5-1 on the way to the 6-2 win, evening the overall score at 1-1. And then, as this competition is very, very close, moments later, the Bruins went back up with a win at number 1, where junior number 30 Sabina Zainolava was drowned by number 32 Tyan Fangran 6-2 and 6-4. Fangran picked up an early break on a deuce point for a 2-0 lead, starting a streak of 4 straight breaks between the players that left Fangran up 4-2. The last of those would be the start of a 4-0 run for Fangran to take the set, open the second with the 1-0 lead. Fangran again broke first in that set for a 3-1 lead, but Zainolava broke back and held to even it 3-3. It stayed on serve from there until Fangran broke again on a deuce point to win, which ended with 6-4. UCLA extended its lead to 3-1 as senior number 85, Charlotte Shavitipin, fell to number 73, Bianca Fernandez, 7-6, and then 6-4 at number 3. In a back-and-forth first set, Fernandez broke on a deuce point in the opening game, but Shavitipin broke right back, and the set stayed on serve from there until Shavitipin broke on a deuce point for 5-3. But Fernandez came back on a 3-0 run that included a deuce point break for a 6-5 lead. Then Shavitipin kept the set alive by breaking back to get a tiebreaker where she took the first point this time, but Fernandez set out on a 4-0 run on the way to a 7-2 win overall. The second set then featured 6 deuce points. However, it stayed on serve for the first 5 games to a 3-2 lead for Fernandez despite 3 deuce points in that span. Fernandez followed with the first break of 4-2, which set off a string of 4 straight breaks for the players, the last of which Shavitipin won on a deuce point. However, Fernandez then held on a deuce point for the match. So the clinch came at number 6, where sophomore Vivian O'Wright-Sky was down by Amani Gishard 6-0, and then 4-6, and then 6-4. Although Gishard swept the first set, including 2 deuce points, O'Wright-Sky won 3 of the first 4 games of the second set on deuce points for a 3-1 lead that she then increased to 4-1. Gishard responded with a 3-0 run to tie it, including a deuce point break, but O'Wright-Sky captured the next 2 games with a deuce point break of her own for the win. And that would be the start of a 5-0 run for O'Wright-Sky, who posted a 3-0 lead in the third set. The next 3 games then stayed on serve despite Gishard facing a deuce point while down 4-1, but she managed to hold a stay within 4-2 and began a 5-0 run to the finish, during which she held twice more on deuce points. In the remaining 2 single matches, senior number 20 Malika Rapula had forced a second set tiebreaker in her match at number 2, but was trailing number 27 Kimmy Hans by a set, which was 3-6, then 6-6. Hans broke in the opening game, which would be the only break until she did so again for 5-2. Rapula broke back for 5-3, but so did Hans for the set. In the second, the first 5 games were all breaks until Rapula held for 4-2 and broke again for 5-2. However, Hans went on a 4-0 run for a 6-5 lead until Rapulu held for a tiebreaker. There, Rapulu had just broken a 3-3 tie with a 3-0 run for a set point when play stopped. The other contest had senior number 122 Taisia Pachkaleva leading Ann Kristen Lucky-Meyer 6-3 and then 6-6 at number 5. In the first set, Pachkaleva turned a 2-2 tie into a 5-2 lead on her way to a 6-3 win. She then trailed 3-0 in the second set, but rallied for a 5-4 lead. The players then alternated the next 3 games to a tiebreaker where Chekhlystova started with a 2-1 lead, but Lutke Meyer went on a 3-0 run until Chekhlystova claimed the final point before play halted. Earlier in doubles, the duo of Chekhlystova and Orutsky was first off the court with a 6-3 win over Gishard and Sasha Vagramov. 5 of the first 6 games of the match were breaks, starting with UCLA breaking in the opening game. However, Texas broke right back before holding on a deuce point and breaking again for a 3-1 lead, which they extended to 4-2 after 2 more breaks. The UT Austin Longhorns snapped the string of breaks with a hold of 5-2 actually, sorry, I believe that's 5-2. Yeah, they had a string of breaks of 5-2, and the last 2 games stayed on serve to the win for Chekhlystova and Orutsky. UCLA then answered on court 1 as the number 19 duo of Zainalova and Chekhlystova fell to the number 13 pair of Fangren and Waggle 6-2. The Bruins got out to a 4-0 lead on the strength of 2 deuce-point breaks in the first and third games, and the rest of the match stayed on serve with no games reaching deuce to the final. That left it to court 2, where the number 30 tandem of Rapulo and Sasnouskaya came up just short in a tiebreaker against the number 42 pair of Hans and Lutke Meyer, and it ended in 7-6. Texas got out to a 3-0 lead that included 2 deuce points wins for a hold and break in the first 2 games. After the Longhorns consolidated their break, the Bruins went on to a 5-0 run for the lead. Rapulu and Sasnouskaya held in the next game to pull within 5-4 and then finish a match point at deuce to break and even it 5-5. The next 2 games also went to deuce with the Longhorns holding for 6-5, and although they led in the next game 15-40, the Bruins rallied to send it to the tiebreaker where they continued their running by winning the first 4 points. After the teams exchanged 2-0 runs for a 6-2 lead for UCLA, Texas fought off 3 match points to pull within 6-5, but the Bruins finally captured the point they needed for the win. And ultimately, with this, the UCLA eliminated UT Austin from the tournament. So it did not go well for UT Austin in the end, even though it did seem like they did do really good throughout the entire meet, but tennis is one of those sports that can go very much back and forth the entire time. You really never know who's going to win sometimes. So now we're going to talk about Penn State women's tennis senior Sofiya Chekhlystova tapped College Sports Communicators Academic All-District on Tuesday. Chekhlystova adds to her career academic honors, which include 3 academic All-Big Ten selections, 2 Big Ten Distinguished Scholar accolades, and 2023 and 2024 academic All-District as an accounting major. In late April, Chekhlystova was recognized as All-Big Ten for the 3rd time in her career. Chekhlystova is an Estonian native. I just jumbled all my words. I'm so sorry. Estonian native, and finished her senior season with 16 single wins, including an 11-6 mark in dual matches. She was 7-4 against Big Ten opponents while playing the majority of her matches at number 1. She also collected 10 double wins, including 7 in dual matches, while playing with 4 different partners and 2 wins in Big Ten matches. 9 of her 11 singles wins this spring came in straight sets. Chekhlystova owns 57 career single wins, including 46 in dual matches and 3 wins over ranked opponents, while going 36-16 at number 1, which is insane. She has also tallied 37 double wins, including 30 in dual matches and 13 at the top doubles position. During the 2022-2023 season, she recorded 22 single wins, playing exclusively at number 1 and 14 doubles wins. She ranked as high as number 42 in the ITA singles poll and finished the season ranked number 66. During her 2021-2022 season, Chekhlystova secured 18 singles wins and 14 doubles wins, playing all singles matched at number 1. And then lastly, as a freshman in 2020-2021, she recorded 8 single wins and 7 double victories, so even as a freshman, she was very impressive. She ended her senior season ranked number 60 in the 66. I'm so sorry. She ranked number 66 in her senior season in the ITA single polls, and she was ranked as high as 42nd in the ITA singles polls. After receiving this award, she has advanced to voting for Academic All-America honors. To achieve CSC Academic All-District and Academic All-American status, A student athlete must be at least a sophomore academically and athletically, and an undergraduate student athlete must have at least a 3.5 cumulative grade point average on a 4.0 GPA scale. Chekhlystova being named to the CSC Academic All-District indicates a significant recognition of her dual excellence both as an athlete and a scholar. This honor acknowledges Chekhlystova's achievements in tennis and her academic dedication and intelligence, enhancing her reputation and possibly opening up further opportunities for scholarships and recognition in academic and athletic communities. Lastly, in college tennis, we're going to talk about the 3 members of the Alabama women's tennis program being named to the College Sports Communicators Academic All-District Team on Tuesday. So to be nominated for this award, a student athlete must also have a 3.5 cumulative GPA. It must be at least a sophomore academically and athletically, so it's pretty much the same thing as the other award we just talked about. The women tennis players that won the award are Clara Milishevich, Anne-Marie Heiser, and Ola Pietak. Clara Milishevich is a sophomore with a 3.59 GPA and is pursuing a bachelor's in finance and economics. She has collected the team's 3rd most single wins at 13 wins. She made 9 appearances in the number 5 spot in the lineup for Alabama and earned an 8-2 record in the number 6 slot for the Crimson Tide. Milishevich and doubles partners Pietak played at the number 3 spot in the lineup and have recorded 9 victories. Then we have Anne-Marie Heiser, who is a senior and has maintained a 3.82 GPA while pursuing a bachelor's in communication studies and a minor in sports management. She was named to the 2024 All-Southeastern Conference second team and secured 13 singles victories for Alabama, including the pair of wins over ranked opponents. She competed at the number 3 spot and collected a 9-4 record while earning a win in both the number 4 and number 5 spot in the lineup. Heiser and doubles partner Ludmila Benchik have remained in the ITA doubles ranking since March of 2023. The doubles duos earned their highest ranking at number 7 on March 19th, marking the first Alabama doubles team to be ranked in the top 10 since 2015. The duo have served at the number 1 spot in the doubles lineup for all but 2 matches this season and collected 15 victories overall. Lastly, Ola Pietak is a graduate student with a GPA of 3.95, which is really impressive. She's earning a master's in management with a concentration in global business and marketing with a focus in digital and social media and professional sales. She's collected the team's 2nd highest singles victories at 14 wins, which includes a 7-2 record during SEC play. She played at the number 4 spot in the lineup for Alabama while holding a 5-1 record at the number 3 spot. These awards and honors ultimately are crucial and should be recognized. It's inspiring to be a collegiate athlete in itself with all of these high-rate stats, but also to have this intelligence and academic status is very admirable as well, and I wanted to make sure that we bring attention to that in women's college tennis. So we're now going to talk about Jordan Larson, how she's aiming for back-to-back Olympic gold medals. Before we do so, we are going to be taking another very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Hello everybody, welcome back. We just got done talking about women's college tennis updates. Thank you guys for sticking in there with me. There was a lot of numbers and info in there, so appreciate it. We're now going to transition into our next segment where we're going to be talking about volleyball, which I'm super excited. I love watching volleyball. It is so fun. We're going to talk about how Jordan Larson is aiming for back-to-back Olympic gold medals. and how she's training for all of that and everything. So we know Jordan Larson as the 3-time Olympic medalist who led the USA team to a historic title in Tokyo Olympics in 2020, and she rejoined the national team after coming close to retirement. So she hammered home the winning point in the gold medal final against Brazil in Tokyo 2020 Olympics, and that victory marked her personal hat trick of Olympic medals, following a bronze at Rio 2016 and a silver at London 2012. Afterwards, retirement for her appeared to be approaching, but she ended up continuing her career in the club leagues, which was really good to see. Last year, she was on the verge of ending her competitive career again when she took on the role as an assistant coach at the University of Texas. Ultimately, she chose to resume her playing journey with Vera Volley Milano, where she came close to winning the National League after a hard-fought final. So just a little reference, so we know this is what she looks like. I'm sure everybody knows what she looks like, but just had a little picture there. So Larson said after that final, she said, "Last August, my life kind of took a little bit of a turn, and so I decided to come back to the court, even though I felt like I was in a pretty good place where I thought I was going to retire. I never actually said it, and so I think you kind of just have left all doors open because you just never know, I guess, what happens." Initially, Larson contemplated starting a family with her husband, but she wanted to keep playing volleyball professionally, and I'm really glad that she chose to do that because she was really fun to watch. During her comeback on the national team, Larson said, "I really enjoyed it, and then the longer I was in the season, obviously the national team was still very much open again. I didn't really close that door either, and I take a ton of pride in representing my country. I've done it for many years, obviously, and so it was a pretty easy choice to come back." The 2014 world champion was included by head coach Karch Corral in the extended roster for the Volleyball Nations League, also the VNL, and she plans to play with the USA in the qualifying tournaments ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympics. So Larson balanced playing and coaching for a while after assuming a new position as a full-time assistant coach with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So her plan was to play for the national team all summer and then help coach Nebraska, which gave her some off time, somewhat of an off season. If she makes it to the 4th Olympics, Larson, who will be 37 years old and 9 months in July 2024, she has the opportunity to become the second oldest female indoor volleyball player in Olympic history, following Danielle Scott Arruda, who was 39 years old and 10 months during London 2012. Larson admitted that the desire of repeating as Olympic champion was a big motivating factor in her decision. Larson said, "I think not only doing it once, but doing it again only solidifies all the work done from youth level all the way up through college and our national team. I think it's what sets the example, and we're continuing to push the edge and push the envelope to be the best we can be as a nation." Regardless of the outcome in Paris, Larson can already be regarded as one of the most accomplished players of her generation, and she says that she's satisfied already, which is really good to hear. Helping the new team blend and prepare for Paris has become one of Larson's main missions. Larson said, "I think for me now, I almost feel that there's a little bit of a weight off me personally, and there's this freedom to just be really, really present and help where I can and kind of fill the gaps where I feel like I see. We always know what the goal is, but I think more about diving into the process and how we can get better every day." So this 3-time Olympic medalist also believes it's not yet time to reflect on her accomplishments and that there's more to give, even though that she's satisfied with what she's done so far, but there is always more that she believes she can do. And to back this up, she said, "I try to sit back, but I always realize there's this striving to always be better. I feel like there's always something to learn." So the new U.S. team is gearing up for the upcoming games with a mix of youthful talent and seasoned experience. 7 rookies, led by Kylia Lanier and Avi Skinner, have recently joined the VNL squad alongside several young players like Catherine Plummer and Lauren Carlini, who already featured in last year's competition. And they will add depth to the squad that both 6 Olympic champions, Larson, Annie Drews, Micha Hancock, Justine Wong Orentez, Chiaka Ogbobu, and Thompson Jordan. Unfortunately, some of the key players in the Tokyo Olympics will not be in Paris, like Akim Redo Gunnarsson and Kimberly Hill, which definitely will be missed, but it is understandable. So far, the 6th edition of the Women's Volleyball Nations League begins in Turkey and Brazil this week, with 16 nations competing for a place in the knockout stages, which take place in Bangkok, Thailand from June 20th to the 23rd. Turkey topped the world rankings and are also the defending championships, winning their first VNL title last year, while the U.S., the reigning Olympic champions, clinched the first 3 editions before Italy won in 2022. In the preliminary round, the 16 teams are divided into 2 pools, which are reshuffled for each of the 3 weekly phases. Each nation will play 12 matches in the pool phase, with all results combined into one ranking table. The top 8 teams will then qualify for the knockout stages in Thailand, with the bronze and gold medal matches taking place on June 23rd. World ranking points will be awarded or deducted after each match of the preliminary rounds of the competition, and this will be important for some of the teams who haven't yet qualified for Paris 2024. 5 additional quotas, Olympic quotas, will be decided using the FIVB rankings in June 2024. It should be really interesting to see how that goes. So during the preliminary round week 1 on May 14th, which was yesterday, Bulgaria lost the Netherlands 0-3 and Italy lost to Poland 0-3. And then the People's Republic of China won 3-0 to the Republic of Korea. And just so everybody knows what is going on for the rest of the week, on May 15, which was today, France will go on against Germany, Japan will go against Turkey, Brazil will go against Canada, and the US will go against Thailand. On May 16th, tomorrow, Germany will go against Italy, Bulgaria will go against Japan, the Netherlands will go against Turkey, Serbia will go against the Dominican Republic, Brazil will go against the Republic of China, and China will go against the US. And then on May 17th, Japan will go against Germany, France will go against Poland, Italy will go against Bulgaria, the Dominican Republic will go against Canada, Serbia will go against Thailand, and China will go against Canada. On May 18th, Poland will go against the Netherlands, France will go against Bulgaria, Italy will go against Turkey, Brazil will go against the US, Serbia will go against China, and the Republic of Korea will go against the Dominican Republic. Lastly, on May 19th, Germany will go against the Netherlands, Poland will go against Japan, France will go against Turkey, Thailand will go against Canada, Brazil will go against Serbia, the US will go against the Dominican Republic, and the Thailand will go against the Republic of Korea. Sorry, I have a very stuffy nose. There are a lot of interesting and exciting games coming up, and we'll be sure to cover these, and whatever teams you're rooting for or whatever country you're in, be aware of these games that are coming up. They're going to be very exciting, and I'm excited to watch them. Also know that they are held in Turkey, and I'm so sorry, I'm about to sneeze. I'm so sorry, guys. I have a little cold, so okay. Anyway, I'm so sorry about that. So they're held in Turkey and Brazil, I believe. So just know that is what's coming up. And I'm very excited to watch Jordan Larson. She's always been an interesting person to watch, and I'm sure that she's going to be making headlines coming up, and hopefully that she will win some Olympic medals this year. We will see. So we're now going to move on to our next segment, where we're going to talk about how much the WNBA rookies are making. We'll also compare this to the NBA rookies, how much they're making. So it'll be very interesting coming up. So I will see you guys really, really soon after this short break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back, guys. We just got done talking about Jordan Larson, her aiming for back-to-back Olympic gold medals, and how she's all prepping for that. Very excited to watch her. We're now going to transition into our next segment, where we're going to talk about how much the WNBA rookies are making, and this is really interesting to know. The base salaries depend on where the player stands on the draft pick. And WNBA salaries have long been the topic of debate and concern, with players advocating for greater compensation and recognition of their contributions to the sport. Some of the players most affected by the salaries in the WNBA are those that are just starting their careers in the competition. Rookies often get the worst end of the stick when it comes to compensation, and we will be getting into that. So, without a further ado, here is a WNBA total value salary over 4 years. So, like when a rookie signs a 4-year contract, this is what the total value would be. First, let me just go over the base salary. So, not considering a 4-year contract. So, for picks number 1 to 4, the base salary in their debut year is $76,535. Picks 5 to 8 earn a slightly lower base salary of $73,439, and then rookies chosen from 9 to 12 spots receive $70,344. Second round picks start with a base salary of $67,249, and as players progress, their salaries increase annually. The rookie scale ensures structured growth, and players can also earn more through endorsements, bonuses, and incentives. Veteran stars negotiate higher salaries based on experience and accolades. The rookie salary is a big difference from the salary of some other famous and legendary WNBA players. For instance, Jackie Young of the Las Vegas Aces has the highest average salary in the WNBA for the 2024 season. She's making $252,450 for the 2024 season as a part of a 2-year, $504,900 contract. The WNBA continues to increase player salaries year after year due to inflation and growing popularity. The average salary in 2022 was $102,751 and an increase to $147,745 ahead of the 2023 WNBA draft. So that's about a $40,000 increase. If the trend increases, the average salary will likely increase again for the 2024 season, and obviously, hopefully it will. There are currently 21 players making at least $200,000 per season, which is good. Veterans of the league like Ariki Ogunbowale, I'm so sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing names, Ogunbowale and Jewel Lloyd, who have moved beyond rookie skill contracts, now top the earnings chart at $241,984 annually. However, it's important to mention that the average WNBA salary was $147,000 in 2023, which is still a fraction of the average NBA salary, which we will get into. So for rookies, I have up here the information. The top 4 picks in the first round earn the same amount of money regardless of order. So this is for the total of 4 years, what the value looks like. So picks 1 to 4 have a total value of $338,056, and then picks 5 to 8 have a total value of $324,383, and then picks 9 to 12 have a total value of $310,718. Picks 13 to 24 have a total value of $297,045, and lastly, picks 25 to 36 have a total value of $276,830. And when you're looking at this, the salary is a lot different, or the total value salary is a lot different than when you look at what their net worth is. Like, for example, Angel Reese's net worth is, I think, $1.7 million, and that's obviously a lot different than what their salary is. But this is, I guess, the base salary of a 4-year contract for that draft pick. And this is not an exact value of what each person in each pick is making. Just wanted to clarify that this would be kind of the base salary or an estimate. So for many WNBA players, including rookies, substantial income comes from endorsements and off-court endeavors. Like Caitlin Clark, for example, exemplifies this trend very well. Despite a modest rookie salary, she amassed approximately $3.4 million from name, image, and likeness deals this past season with major brands like Nike and Gatorade. As the WNBA gains popularity with record-breaking viewership numbers and increasing public support, the conversation about fair compensation is more relevant than ever. With players like Clark poised to raise the profile of the league further, the hope is that these discussions will pave the way for a more equitable future in professional women's sports. These amounts the rookies are making stand in stark contrast to NBA rookies, where the top pick can earn a staggering $10.1 million in their debut season. I'm literally going to repeat that, $10.1 million in their debut season. That's insane. Like, compared to what these WNBA rookies are making as their base salaries. The disparity highlights the ongoing discussions and efforts for increased pay and recognition in women's basketball. So to be more specific, I'm going to get into all the WNBA rookies' total one-year salary. So just as a reminder, this is 1 year, what the rookie would be making, compared to what I just showed was the 4-year contract salary total value. So the first pick has a total value of $10,133,900. That's a lot of money. That's a lot. And then the second pick for the NBA rookie was $9,067,000. Third pick was $8,142,400, and the fourth pick was $7,341,100. I was going to include more after the fourth draft pick, but those numbers, though, they were long. They were long numbers. I was like, I don't think I can say that high of numbers for that long. This is such a huge, substantial difference to how much the WNBA rookies are making, and honestly, it is just so unbelievable that the difference in salaries is this large. Fortunately, I do want to recognize that there have been some improvements in WNBA salaries, especially with the help of the Women's National Basketball Players Association, also known as WNBPA, which is the labor union representing WNBA players, and it's been instrumental in negotiating collective bargaining agreements, or CBAs, that seek to improve the professional lives of the players. The WNBPA has negotiated several groundbreaking CBAs that have progressively enhanced player compensation and benefits. The most effective recent CBA, ratified in 2020 and effective through 2027, brought significant improvements. It included salary increases, better travel conditions, full salary during maternity leave, and enhanced family benefits, which were major wins for the players. Also, the 2020 CBA introduced a 50-50 revenue sharing model starting in the 2021 season, which is contingent of the leagues achieving certain revenue growth targets. And this model aims to align players' compensation with the league's financial success, which is a model similar to what is seen in other major sports leagues like the NBA. Lastly, recognizing the importance of career development both on and off the court, the WNBPA has initiatives to assist players in preparing for life after basketball, which is really great. And this includes like education programs, internships, and other resources aimed at career development. There's a lot that needs to be considered when discussing how much WNBA rookies are making, and it makes me really optimistic to see that the WNBPA has been successful in advocating for more equal and fair pay opportunities for the WNBA compared to the NBA players. Compared to the NBA rookie salaries, though, the WNBA rookies are not making a good amount at all, and it is very much upsetting to look at these numbers side by side. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that the W rookies' salaries are bad salaries. Like, that's a lot of money in general. Like, just looking at the amount of money is a lot of money. But compared to how much the NBA rookies are making, it is not it's obviously not fair. It's not equal at all. And you can't even compare the two because there's such a substantial difference, it feels like, if that makes sense. I'm hoping that with the increased media attention on women's sports and the WNBA in particular, the rookie salaries and salaries of those WNBA players that are famous and have been around for much longer can increase. It is upsetting to see the difference, but it is interesting to see how much each of your top pick people are making. And another thing to note is that the total value for each draft isn't as much difference as in the NBA rookie players, where you have like a difference in $1 million in salary, whereas like in the WNBA rookies you have like from 1 to 4 to 5 to 8, you have a difference in like a little bit over $10,000. So it's very different dollars, but also you have to consider that this is a lot less money than how much the NBA rookies are making in 1 year. So it is pretty crazy to look at. Just want to bring attention to that. So now we're going to go into our last segment where we're going to be talking about Caitlin Clark's debut. Before that, we're going to be taking a very short break. So I will be back really soon. Hello guys, welcome back to our last segment. Thank you guys for staying around. This last segment I am so excited to talk about. We just got done talking about how much the WNBA rookies are making, and now we're going to transition into Caitlin Clark's debut. Okay, I just want to give a little disclaimer. I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan, so literally in my eyes, every single thing she does on the court is amazing. Like, I'll just say that right now. But, I mean, I will recognize that this wasn't her best game. We're going to go into that and stuff, but I just want to say that I'm a huge fan of her. So, little disclaimer there. Yesterday, Caitlin Clark played her first game in the WNBA. As we know, Clark is a highly talented basketball player known for her exceptional skills and scoring ability. She played college basketball for the University of Iowa, where she quickly became one of the standout players in women's collegiate basketball. I remember watching her in the University of Iowa. She was so phenomenal. She was literally a star on the court, and ever since then I became a huge fan of her. She led the NCAA in scoring and was a consensus All-American. Her performances in college garnered national attention and made her the #1 overall selection in the 2024 WNBA draft. She's now on the Indiana Fever team, where she competed against the Connecticut Sun yesterday as her WNBA debut. Now, I just said that she was the #1 overall selection at the WNBA draft, so just consider how much pressure she has on her and how much media attention she has been getting when we talk about her performance. So the game ended with the Connecticut Sun winning 92-71. Clark scored a total of 20 points. She drilled each of her 4 3-pointers, but Connecticut forced her into a game-high 10 turnovers among the 25 Fever giveaways and kept her to just a trio of assists. She picked up a pair of touch fouls in the first quarter, leading to an early break on the bench. And when she was on the floor, Connecticut's DeJohn Carrington and her teammates gave Clark little room to operate. Clark didn't score her first points until there was 5 minutes and 24 seconds left in the second quarter. She got a little more offensive footing in the second half, scoring 13 points after intermission. Clark's 20 points ranks second in franchise history behind Hall of Famer Tamika Catchings in 2002 with a total of 23 points for a Fever player debut. I want to just go back and make that clear. That is not all in the league. I'm just saying that just for Indiana Fever, that team, she ranks second in franchise history. And just for comparison, though, Candace Parker had the highest point total for any WNBA player in her debut with 34 points in 2008. But it is very important to recognize that turnovers were a very big issue for Clark yesterday, with 5 giveaways in each half. Fever coach Christy Side said Clark wasn't to blame for all 10 turnovers, though, which is a bold statement by Sides to say that. A lot of critics have been saying that is a bold statement. I don't think it is, because it's a team sport. But let me get into that. Okay, so Side said, we got to help her out. We got to do a better job of coming back to the ball. I completely agree with that. It's a team sport. Like, turnovers aren't just one person's fault. Yes, this wasn't great of Clark to have 10 turnovers, 5 in each half. That's impressive in a negative way. But still, like, I think it is a good leadership role that Side said publicly that, you know, it's a team sport. We got to all help her out. We can't just blame one person. I think that was very great for her coach to say that, and I think is more encouraging for her team. So Sides also said that she's confident Clark will be able to adjust to the height and speed of elite defenders, and she also said the Sun had a game plan against her, and it's just going to take some time for her to figure that speed and quickness and physicality out. We try to rep it and mimic that at our practices with our practice guys as much as we could, but it's just not the same. Also, we should consider that the Sun was the third best team last year, while Indiana Fever did not do so well and was ranked 10th in the league last year. Just want to point that out there. Anyway, after the game, Clark said to reporters, "There's a lot to learn from. It's the first one. There's going to be good ones. There's going to be bad ones." Clark's frustration was visible during the game, especially when her teammate Aliyah Boston tried to encourage her. Initially resistance, Clark's body language was dismissive during their interaction. However, the tough love seemed to have a positive impact. Clark showed some improvement in the second half of the game after that interaction. This performance by Clark was very different from her preseason games. For example, the Fever lost its first preseason game 79-76 to the Dallas Wings on May 3rd. But Clark did a good job handling her first game against professional competition by registering 21 points on 6 of 15 shooting, including 5 three-pointers on the road. And then Indiana Fever picked up an 83-80 win against the visiting Atlanta Dream on May 9th. Clark struggled a bit more in that one, going just 4 of 12, including 2 of 9 from three-point range. She still finished the day with 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. But the rookie recognized there is still room to improve. Turnovers was a concern for Clark during the preseason game as well, since she registered a total of 11 during those 2 preseason games. But going back to how Clark played yesterday, a lot of people are saying that this is not a good game by her, while a lot of people are considering how she was under lots of pressure and that should be taken into consideration. I think this game really showed how over the top the expectations were for Clark. While she had a team high 20 points, the performance is still going to be defined many as a quote-unquote struggle, primarily for the turnovers. I'm sure the turnovers were what frustrated Clark the most. I mean, it would frustrate me the most, to be honest, since, they prevented any possible scoring opportunities for the Fever in that moment. But also it's important to note how the Sun adjusted a lot of their play to cause this struggle for Clark. Connecticut guard Gijonai Carrington made things hard on Clark, who had 8 of her turnovers against the 4th-year pro. Clark was also 2 of 10 shooting against Carrington, so you have to take that into consideration. Still, I think this was not the best game for Clark, but the pressure in the Sun's tactics to cause a struggle on Clark should be taken into consideration. I think Clark will play better in the upcoming game, and I obviously hope she does, possibly because of the less pressure. It's like your first game, you get that out of the way. But let's just remember how much media attention she has gotten and how she's known as the best rookie in the league. So consider that when saying that she did bad or not. Overall, this was not a great game for Clark, and it wasn't the ideal debut that she or any of her fans, including me, would have wanted. But still, I think she's going to have a lot better games in the future. And honestly, she really only can get better from here. Despite the disappointing debut, Clark remained optimistic, which emphasized the importance of learning from the experience and not dwelling too much on one bad game. And her attitude reflects a readiness to adjust and improve as she continues her career in the WNBA. And this game is really more of a learning experience for Clark. And hopefully we can see her get better and better each game. I think that her optimism and toughness on herself should be taken as impressive and more appreciated, that she didn't get too much in her head. There is a lot in the professional league of mental and physical competition with yourself and your teammates and your competitors. But I think that she handled the game pretty well afterwards, considering how she did. This wasn't what she would have wanted, obviously, and considering how she handled reporters, I think that's really admirable, how she was professional and still optimistic. I'm excited to see how she does in the future games. I don't think this was a great game for her. I want to say that. But I don't think that this was the worst game that could possibly be. I just think that there's over-the-top expectations for her in general, for her first game, for her debut. So that wraps up our last segment. Thank you guys for tuning into the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again and have a wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.